I'm gonna see if I can find some coverage to share later on.
Yeah.
But like I've been watching the Red Sox for like a decade plus now, and like they've always had
Mm.
commentators on there that are quite informative, but there are also loads of banter between them, and that's a lot of what I got from
Nice.
cricket. Is like they got a load of ex-players, but loads of ex-players with a bit of charisma. So like if I'm sitting down watching a test match
Mm.
from 10:30 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, it's got to, like obviously I enjoy watching the game, but it's got to have something else to it to keep me engaged. And like
Yeah.
I could be sat there with it on and messing about doing something else, but then my attention will just peak and I'll be sitting there laughing at stuff they say. Like I think presentation of those sports, especially if you don't get to go to that game, is very important.
Mm.
Whereas with sports like football or American
Mm.
football or basketball, presentation isn't necessarily the most important thing because the games are fairly fast flowing.
Yeah.
You, you say that right, but I've actually been to a when I was in the States. When I was in the States, sorry, I was watching like the Super Bowl. It was not. It wasn't actually interesting to watch because I watched it and I was like, wait, I'm in America. Shouldn't this be more exciting? But it's not that exciting. It really sucked. It was the Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos, and it was
That
like
was a terrible Super Bowl.
Oh.
I was there during that year, and I watched it. I was like, wait, I was actually saying to the other American colleagues, I was just like, okay, so is this when like the Broncos come back with like all the gumption? They're actually having the chat in like the dressing room right now, and it's gonna come back with and it's gonna tie the score until the last like 2 minutes. Is that what's gonna happen? Have you watched too many American movies, Simon?
That
Yeah, I mean,
was
yes, that's what I expected. This is not what I
that was
expected. This was boring.
that was
It
the
was
one
so
and
boring.
only Super Bowl me and Rob have watched together because he was, I think, first year in Winchester at the time. So it was me, Rob, um, Natalie, and Adam.
Yeah, he would have been there. Yeah.
But
Um,
it
yeah,
was like I mean like as much as I love these as much as you can love sports and seeing how they play and everything, if it gets boring, it gets quite fucking boring, you know what I mean? And it's just like
well,
it wasn't exciting to watch that game. It was like
yeah.
uh,
I think especially if you're not clued into what's going on, like for quite some time, like
Yeah.
Rob wasn't really into it. Um, but like I think I helped explain enough to him, and obviously spent time watching Super Bowls, and I think Madden helped you learn a bit, didn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it's
what it did for
basically
me.
like watching it with you and then playing Madden. Because I think the thing with Madden is like, I think I learn best when I'm like doing stuff. So like playing Madden, I was like, oh shit, if I do that, then I get this point, and then and it was like, oh okay, this is. And it makes more sense as well with like things like the plays and stuff because on Madden you kind of
Mm.
like it's set up so that like you can see the routes that your receivers are going to run and all of that kind of stuff. And then I
it's
think once you're watching it with that mindset, it's like, oh okay, I understand like. Because the thing that's always interesting to me about any sport is the tactics. And so yeah, after playing Madden and
Yeah.
like seeing all that, and then like sort of watching it live, it's like, oh okay, this is really interesting now.
wait, quick question. Is Madden the one where it has mascot ball? Because it's like because a lot of sports, especially team sports, the individual players with the individual stats. I sometimes that gets a bit blurry for me. For if it's Madden, at least I think it's Madden. It has the game mode where it's just all of them are just like the team's mascots playing. So you see a bunch of like turkeys playing, a bunch of like people who are dressed up like Spartans, and it'll be like,
If
what's
that's a
going on
mode,
here?
if that's a mode, I need to find it because that
Yeah, because
sounds interesting.
I'm not sure if it's Madden or if it's like NFL like something. Because I remember I've seen
That
people
sounds
watch those
awesome.
games.
Maybe
It's hilarious.
That
maybe
might
it's
be the
the
old
hockey.
NCAA game.
Yeah,
Oh, if it
probably.
is, because I watched football. I tried to understand football by watching the mascots play. Something about seeing a guy dressed up like a leprechaun just getting tackled by a horse is just hilarious. But like, oh right, he's got a down, and that's how he gets. Because he's got the downs, that means he can get the pass by a flag, and that's you kind of pick up bits of it, but it's because it's hilarious to watch something like that happen, and you're like, oh, right there. Sorry, I'll be
Speaking
starting
of that,
recording.
Speaking of that, right, Rob, you're gonna love it when we go to that baseball game because the Sunday of the international series they have a mascot derby.
Oh,
It's
this sounds great
it's
already.
That's
It's
amazing.
basically, I think it's like during the seventh inning stretch. So before they sing "Take Me Out to the Ballpark" and stuff like that.
Oh, did I actually sing that there?
Yeah,
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be
Nice.
singing
we
along.
get like two American anthems. We get our droll one. But no, it's such a great event. Um, but yeah, they get like a bunch of mascots. So the two teams that are playing, I think we get a couple of like British sort of figures as mascots. I don't know if the Red Sox one's going to come again this year, but yeah, they just race around the outside of the playing surface. It's
That's
it's
awesome.
it's real fun.
Oh,
That
nice, man. I'm
sounds
really
fun.
looking forward to
That sounds
Yeah.
hilarious.
So as a segue, that's perfect for me to
that.
say why I picked this film.
Yeah, why did you?
Yeah, why did you?
So I was going to pick it last year, but other ideas popped up. But Rob was talking on the train into London one day. It's quite recent, to be fair, about him fully adopting the Oakland A's, and then I was like, "Damn, Moneyball is about the Oakland A's." I mean, technically, Moneyball is also about the rise of the Red Sox as well. I'll get into that afterwards. But I was like, what a perfect way to sort of integrate Rob further into baseball by picking a film about the Oakland A's. A couple months before we actually go. And you know what? I made a mistake because I shouldn't really have picked this film this round because this week is draft week in the NFL, and I should have picked draft day. But hey, we can pick that another year.
Well, I mean, it's like, how do you explain it? Like, I don't know who the score because I haven't checked it yet, but like, I feel like I did score it that high for what this film was. It's a baseball game, but we didn't really see that much baseball being played, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. And I feel like, I know you said you wanted to do your double bill like next round or next
Yeah.
next couple
Yes,
rounds.
next round.
But like, I was like, why didn't you mix this up with like 42D Jackie Robinson story? And I was like, that would have been way better. Then I'll be like, I see this heart and soul of it, but I also see the maps. And I was like, that would have
Yeah.
been cooler. Or you could have done, well, I don't know if someone picks it or not, but I'll say it anyway. You could have done it like, if you want to just do like the stats and business side of it, you could have double billed this with like the founder. And I was like, oh, that would have been an interesting thing to see, like,
Interesting.
because you see like the behind the business deals behind it, and it's like, oh, you can compare how business in sports and in other things are, and that's a lot more interesting to see how it goes. But it's like, I watched this because I feel like I've watched bits of it beforehand, and I was like, all right, it's the baseball. It just talks about like the statistics more. I didn't realize how much statistics it went through. It went through
Yeah.
so much math. I was like, I watched it
I really
early.
liked it.
It was a bit, I don't know, I felt like it was a bit too much of the math, where it could have been a lot more of like the romanticized versions of baseball. And it's like, yeah, but the math.
You get a lot of that though.
Yeah, no. But the point is, it's like, but as someone explained, it's like the math side is baseball as well. That's kind of the point.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
a
like,
big part of baseball.
and it's like, oh yeah, but like, it could have been a bit more balanced. It could have had a little bit more like Chris Pratt, actually, you know,
Chris Pratt.
play. Yeah, Chris. Well, I mean, yeah, Chris Pratt. Yeah, he could have had him actually playing a bit more. Like, actually see him like on the field a bit more. I feel like it could have been a little more baseball being played than just talked about being played.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, that's like my opening statement. 2 cents to it. It's like, it's not a bad film. It's just like not what I enjoyed of what should be baseball. And it's like,
So like, what I was gonna say is like, if I was gonna do like a double bill surrounding this. Probably would have coupled it with something like Field of Dreams. Um, it's actually a film that I haven't seen, but
Oh, have you not?
I've heard nah, I've heard like great things about it, and like, my mum was like, "You need to watch it. Like you love baseball, why haven't you watched it yet?" It's kind of be like me saying like someone that loves American football and they haven't seen that one with Al Pacino. I'm trying to see if it's up there. Keep forgetting the name of it.
Yeah, I always forget the name of that one.
Um, Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
but one of the things I really liked about this was looking at the side of baseball that people forget is a massive part of it. So it's like
Mm.
team building is massively important, and like for a team like Oakland who have, I think they've still got the lowest payroll in baseball, and they're having to deal with like you've got the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees on ridiculous payroll each year, and then teams like Oakland, considered a small market team, San Diego, having to try and compete with the massive teams, and it's interesting how they worked out having to get decent players to be able to um, provide enough in the statistical side of things to compete.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then sort of this new sort of system that was set up from obviously Jonah Hill's character, that's actually carried into everyday baseball now.
Yeah.
So the book that this is based off of that changed baseball forever. Like the baseball from the late '90s before was much more about feel. That's what these scouts were arguing about at the time. The scouts are completely different now. They all basically analysts. They spend 90% of their time on computer screens, looking at like what this guy does. Like there's a point where you have relief pitchers that might come out for one batter because they like the matchup. That's something that wouldn't have happened 20 plus years ago.
Mm.
So I liked the fact that this was basically the big part of this film.
Mm.
And obviously you saw a scene near the end with Billy Bean with John Henry, who owns the Red Sox and Liverpool.
Wait, does
Obviously,
he own Liverpool as well?
yeah, it's a shame I'm linked to Liverpool that way. But
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
actually quite unlucky with American owners.
oh, fucking yeah, let's not talk about them. There's three shit owners of three of my teams. Yeah, one of which is an English team. But anyway, I don't want to get onto that tangent on this call. Where he was going to pay him ridiculous amount of money to become the GM of the Red Sox, and then he obviously turned it down out of loyalty for Oakland. He's actually no longer the GM of Oakland, the Oakland A's. He's now like vice president of baseball operations.
Oh, really?
So like, yeah, he owns part of the team as well. So I think the payroll's a little higher now. So I think younger him would be very happy that he was going to get an extra few million in the payroll.
Yeah.
But
As long
that
as-
meeting basically forced the Red Sox into looking at the Oakland way of doing things. And the first World Series win came 2 years after, basically using a bunch of players who weren't like top tier players, but using that Moneyball structure to build a competitive team. So I sort of see it as like an Oakland A's Boston Red Sox kind of film, because that's sort of, you saw Oakland start things that provided Boston ending a 100+ year hoodoo of not winning anything. Yeah, and it's great. And I actually went from watching this film into watching the Red Sox documentary of the year they won it, and
nice.
overturned a 3-0 deficit against the Yankees. Just had to get that in. Anyway, I'm taking up too much time.
Oh,
Who's
no,
next?
man, you tell us what you
No,
want.
Yeah, we've got only 4 of us there, so it's all right. But it's just not a Yankees fan, I see then, huh? Or I mean, you're a Red Sox fan, so obviously. But it's like, didn't realize you.
Oh,
One
you've
sec,
got,
one
you've
sec.
got your Red Sox towel behind you as well.
Yeah.
I,
Nice.
This one it even has the World Series stamp
Oh,
on it.
very nice.
Champions as well.
you got a bunch of people complaining in the ring goes, oh, how many
Yeah.
rings do you have, motherfucker? Oh, yeah, just imagine it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I mean-
really like this. Like, just sort of like watching it as somebody who's trying to get into baseball and who's picked the Athletics as like their team, because I was kind of like relating it to West Ham because I was like, this is great. They've got no money. Nobody expects anything of them. Like this is everything that I want in a team.
And there was the one
Oh,
line in
man.
there, the opening of the film. It's like we're just the team that makes players that get sold to other teams to make them better. And it's just like, wow, that line sounds. It would really resonate with Rob for some reason. I was like, oh yeah, because of the West Ham. But yeah,
I
it's
was
just
sat
like
there
yeah, West Ham.
fuck you, Declan Rice.
Man,
I mean, that would even resonate with like where I currently work, my department. But yeah,
Yeah, I must admit, like that scene towards the end when he's meeting the guy from the Red Sox, I was like, you motherfucker, you're going to abandon him as well. Well, I found myself getting so invested in it, man. I thought it was really cool.
you probably wouldn't like me. I would have taken the money. I'd be like, you know what? I achieved well. Now it's time to, build up my money for retirement and my kids.
I think
I
that's the
did
thing,
my
like,
thing.
because it's like I would never like begrudge sort of like a player or a manager or whoever like going for a big payday, because it's like that's your job. Like you sort of like look after how much you're getting paid. Like that's no problem. But the thing I always find deflating about sports is it's just like it's such an uneven playing field, and I think that this film was really good at like demonstrating that, because it's like, unless you're like one of the big sort of like glamour clubs in sort of any sport that you're in, you just like you have such an advantage over anyone else. And it's, I think that whole thing about how like when they were trying to replace the player and there was that whole thing of like, no, there's no point trying to replace the player because you can't compete with the Yankees. Like I thought that was such an interesting little bit. And yeah, I thought it was super cool because well, like I was saying earlier, like the thing I always find interesting about sports, like the sport itself is always the tactics, but like all of this stuff I find super interesting, like the sort of like team building and sort of like looking at different players' personalities and all of that stuff. I think that's really really cool. So yeah, sort of going from like the old school way of doing it, where you had that guy going like, oh no, his girlfriend's ugly, so like he's not going to be confident, into like actually sort of looking at things that are relevant and not sort of just kind of like sticking a finger in the air and going like, yeah, that guy's good, we'll get him. I found that all really interesting as well, and I thought it was so cool as well. Like, is it true, Pat, like with the whole thing about the guy who wrote the book sort of not having a baseball background and just sort of coming from like a normal job into baseball?
I don't know.
Oh, let me have a look, because I thought that was so
I've
cool.
not actually read the book.
Have
So
you?
my first sort of introduction to this story was through this film. Then I did a lot of research set around it, and saw how much this book had, or not necessarily the book, but Billy Bean and his analyst had sort of influenced modern day baseball.
Yeah.
But I
Also,
was sitting there watching it. Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, the ugly girlfriend thing, apparently in real life, it was a reference to his bad eyesight rather than bad, no confidence. But still, same thing. It's just finger in the air. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, sitting there and watching this, I was like, I could really see as Rob and Alec get older that they'll both get into baseball and cricket, because it's more of the statistical side and then this team building stuff that I think like the statistical side, I think Alec really dug.
Mm.
Whereas you love team building anyway, so
Yeah, that's the whole reason that I spend so much time on FIFA, man. Like I just love doing career mode and putting teams together. It's-
yeah,
Wait,
I probably don't
Yeah,
spend enough
used
time
to be
doing
the
it.
same.
wait. So does that mean Alec would really like Football Manager then?
Do you know what? There's been so many times in the past where I've been like, everything that you enjoy is like stuff that I enjoy about football. So I don't know why you hate football, but like, it's...
Oh man,
I don't know why
I
he does.
used I used to play Football Manager mostly, and just the manager side of the games mostly growing up,
Mm.
and the whole kind of statistics and the kind of the tactics behind the game. Like, I'm someone who likes the whole kind of the tactics behind the game, but I also like the I don't know, I get into kind of history stuff like what's the famous you probably know and Simon probably knows as well a, a famous Chinese art of war type
Oh, Sun
books
Tzu.
and
Well,
his
yes, and yeah, I was about to say, do you actually mean Sun Tzu or do you mean Zhuge Liang? It's a slight difference. Everyone gets them mixed up.
I think Sun Tzu, what's the name of them? There's a
Sun,
lot.
because like there's a lot of it. If you're talking about the guy with the big hat and like the big feather fan, it's Zhuge Liang.
I was going to say Abraham Lincoln, the big hat in it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I I think it's I think I'm thinking of Sun Tzu, but obviously is whether it's actually written by him. That's a whole other thing, which is also interesting. But point is, I like a lot of things when it comes to like tactics and strategy and many different things. Um, and yeah, I really appreciated it in this film. It was interesting to see this, and it's cool. The kind of angle they're coming from. And like you were saying, Pat, it's cool having a film about the moment in baseball, modern baseball history that really changed it,
Mm.
that really shook things up. When people are like, "No, no, no, shouldn't be like this." We know what we're doing, which happens obviously in so many places and businesses, and you see whether it be businesses and whatnot failing because they don't want to adapt, they don't want to change, kind of update themselves and look at things in a different way to see if it could be better. Yeah, you got this small team. He's just like, look, I'm basically just gonna go ride or die with this. I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
I'm trading these players. So, are you crazy? Yeah, I am. You're gonna put that first. it was it's great. I think it's been a really long time since I've watched baseball. I did, and it's probably just for personal reasons. I did prefer watching baseball to watching cricket, but I like playing. I used to like playing both equally, but I think that's me with sports in general. I really like playing sports, but I didn't watch them as much.
Mm.
And I like watching the highlights and getting into the kind of strategy and tactics of it all. So, like, I could probably sit and listen to a very long time about like different coaches just talking about why they employed those formations or what the kind of strategies they thought behind leading up to the game, and then also the kind of the in game changes they made just to kind of monitor things. Like I could listen to that for a long while, but if it actually came to watching, I would dip in and out. I'd be like, "Oh, that's cool, cool, cool. I'll be back in a minute."
that's what my mum used to be
I,
like. So like, I probably don't watch as much baseball, or I haven't watched as much baseball in the last sort of 10 years. So like, when I was sort of out of work, I used to just stay up to stupid o'clock watching baseball every night. Um, or even like when I knew I was doing late shifts all the time, but my late shifts would start at 12. I'd stay up late and watch baseball the night before, get up at like 10, go to work, go home, and then repeat the cycle. But like where I'm working like 9 or 10 in the morning, can't really do that so much. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, But I used to sit there watching it, and my mum would be in the background, and she'd dip in and out of me watching it. Mostly me getting excited over something briefly, and she'd be like, "Oh, what's going on?" She hadn't a clue what's going on, but you know, but I can imagine a lot of people, even people that enjoy sports, sort of dipping in and out. I think I'm a rare person who loves just sitting down watching the same thing for hours upon hours. Like even last summer when the Ashes were on, in terms of cricket, whenever I wasn't working, I was at home watching it, and glued to every single ball on screen. It's quite sad in a way, but yeah,
No.
it's it's an insane world. But the the comparisons between the two sports, I don't think are that comparable, because like
Mm.
baseball is just basically a bigger bat version of rounders. Cricket,
Yeah.
cricket is a harder sport to play. I generally feel like
Really?
the bats are bigger, but like you've got to account for the ball pitching, and then you don't know what way it's turning. So like
Yep.
when I used to play for Upminster, and when I used to play for my school, um, I used to have to worry about like, okay, so how quick is he going to bowl? Where is he going to land it? Is the ball
Yep.
going to go away from me? Is it going to come into me? And then once I've worked that out, I then have to work out what shot I'm going to play. I need to get my timing on point, because if you miss your timing, that can end up with either your stump sort of flat on the floor or the ball going straight up in the air. There's so much to think about in such
Yeah.
a short space of time. Baseball, you haven't got to worry about stumps. You've got 3 strikes. Um,
Yeah. That's why I wasn't a good batter in cricket.
yeah.
I couldn't
It's too-
I couldn't figure it out. I was just like, you know what? I have other strengths. It's okay.
Reason why I didn't make it was because I'm not in that class. Cricket's a very, especially in this country, is a very class driven sport, like tennis.
Mm.
Where if you're common like us, very few people get in. Like everyone gets a chance to play, but if you don't go to a private school, you don't have the chance to use the best equipment. Like I remember one of my games at school, we played against Eastbrook, and our equipment was so bad. My batting gloves were garden gloves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and do you know the really rigid ones? Trying to grip a bat whilst wearing really rigid rubber garden gloves was horrible. And I remember we got bowled out for 60 something. I scored 45 of them. That's how bad our team was.
Oh, wow.
Man.
But
So was your skill though.
but yeah, like I for years heard the stories about Gary and Phil Neville being two sport players. Like they were both good at cricket and football and chose the football route. And without sounding big-headed, I was pretty good at both, and I could have made it at both. Like having the trials at Leyton Orient in football. The only thing that stopped me at cricket was because, in the eyes of the general cricket people, I'm quite poor. I mean, they're not wrong. I am quite poor, but if you're not part of that sort of elite group, you have no chance of progressing. Even you could be the most talented guy on the field, but it depends on what your dad earns.
That's so bad.
Whereas with baseball, like having spent time in America and knowing a lot of people and playing baseball out there, it's a very open sport. If you're good at it, you'll always get an opportunity. Like there's like how many? I think there's like 18 rounds in their draft each year, and even if you go first round, you don't step on the field for about 4 years. You go through all their level affiliate teams. So you've got like the major leagues, you've got AAA, AA, single A, and then some other ones beneath it. And you've got to work your way up, and you've got to have a diploma as well, which is what I love about American sports. The athletes have all got degrees and stuff like that.
I mean, isn't that the same thing for like American football as well? Because like,
Yeah.
it's a question of like, do you have the grades if your grades drop, you can't play the football. You be the best at football. If your grades drop, it's not gonna happen. Well, actually, I guess
Whereas
I was
here,
gonna, I
whereas
was
here
gonna
you
ask,
could
do you
be.
think?
Oh,
Sorry. Okay, you go first. Go first. Go.
yeah. So whereas here, I'll use an example of Wayne Rooney. He was 16 years old. He could kick a ball. He broke through scoring that goal for Everton against Arsenal. The guy is thick as shit. David Beckham's another one. Like intellectually, we're far above them, regardless of where we go in our lives.
Well, you say that, but he's got the money to back himself up, so it's fine.
They've got the money because they were very talented at what they could do. But if they were in America, they would be very different people. They would have been well educated, or they wouldn't have made it. Simple as.
Interesting.
I did really like that bit actually when they were talking about like when the time comes that somebody has to tell you that you can't play the children's game anymore. Because that's quite like that's an interesting sort of difference between the US system and our system, in that like if you're a top a top athlete in any way really in America, you have to go through the college system to get there. Whereas over here, it's just like, you know, you join a team when you're like 8 or 9 years old and you hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't swap any system either. Like as a fan, like the thing I love about football is the sort of pyramid system, which is very different to the American style of franchise model. But it does sort of require much more of a sacrifice out of young kids here. Like, if you're good enough, teams are going to encourage you to just focus on football. Don't worry about getting a diploma. Don't worry about being smart. We'll make the decisions for you. But in the American way, like, every single one of those athletes, it doesn't matter what sport they're playing, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, hockey, lacrosse, even their major league soccer, like every one of those players are like businessmen. They've got a few brain cells basically. They don't even need an agent. They know what they want. Like I look at someone like LeBron James. He's obviously one of the greatest to play basketball, but he's also got a businessman mentality. He wants to earn enough money so he can actually buy a team once he retires. I mean, how many players are like that in Europe? It's just not something that you see.
True. That it's a different kind of. I think most people are looking to maybe in Europe anyway, looking to be what, like, I say coaches or like the head of a team or team manager, or they're looking to and different things.
Yeah, but like, I guess the point of that would be is question of like how many of those players actually become managers, and like the success stories of them would be like, I was only thinking like who is like in football is like, you know, who used to be a player that was quite good and afterwards just do like it's still in the game but not as a player but like a sports like person. I was thinking, okay, there's Beckham because he's just too rich and stuff, but there's like Gary Lineker.
Miami. He's one of the few that have retired, made tons of money, have actually bought a team.
Yep.
He owns the Miami team in the MLS.
Okay, but like I was thinking, who else is it? It's like there's a lot of people who do commentary and other stuff. Like I was like, that's Henry. Yeah. Henry doesn't play anymore, obviously.
He's a pundit.
Yeah. So but I was thinking, who I was thinking, who was the person who did who was in Argentina? It was Maradona. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's like probably the only person I could think of on the top of my head, and that's it. Because like when it does get to be like a success story to be like that, and it's not just like just rich dudes who just bought the team and like, okay, I'm the manager or like the owner of the team. It's just like people who used to play and be managers now. is quite a hard it's not a thing that we see in modern day football. It's everything is like replaced and like changed. Those kind of that. I guess that sucks about the sports. I guess because if you want to have like that lineage of like thing in like sports, but like for Europe or European teams, it doesn't happen. American teams, it's like with this, it's like his dad used to play baseball and he's trying to make up his like score stuff, and it's like all right, yeah, that's it. And like with Billy Bean himself, he used to be a player. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for him, but he became like the I was about to say coach. No, he became the GM, and he managed the teams, and that's a success story in its own right. It's like we don't really see that, unfortunately, in Europe, and that's just sad. You know,
what I love about like the history of sort of players that progress into either coaching or upper management is if you were a great player, the likelihood of you making a success as a coach or as a general manager is quite small. Like all the great coaches were either players that had injuries kill their career early on, or they were busts. Like Billy Bean was a great college, high school hitter. I think got drafted in the first round. Couldn't hit a thing in the majors, like because there's such a big jump from sort of your college level to like the highest level. It's only like it's reserved for an elite few. Even like in football, like you look at the best managers currently, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, he wasn't great and retired early because of injuries. Pep Guardiola at City, unreal manager, but he was a very average player. Sir Alex Ferguson was a great player in Scotland. That doesn't really count. The Scottish leagues have always been trash. Like, but then you've got, just trying to think of a great player. Well, even like a, not necessarily a great player, but a good player like Gary Neville. Was years won everything for Man United, went to take over the Valencia job, and he was getting to every week. So it's like, I think when you're an elite player or a top end player, you don't really think about the other side of the game. So it's quite a difficult adjustment when you do go to that side. And I think you see it in like most of the sports as well.
I think it's it's a personality type thing as well, isn't it? Because a great player typically will be good at following instructions, but to be a good manager, you need to do the opposite of that. So,
Jose Mourinho's another one.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's very rare that you get somebody who's a great player and a great manager. Like Xabi Alonso is probably like the most recent example. Yeah.
They finally lost today.
Did they actually? I thought they scored a last minute goal again.
Nah. Hold on, let me double check that.
I'm sure they scored in like the 96th minute or something like that.
Well, as you're going through that, I was going to say though, being a great manager is a bit weird looking. Well, especially when watching this film, because it was like, I know baseball is really about trading players a lot, and like it happens a lot, right? But the way that it was trading it was like they weren't baseball players; they were like playing cards. They were literally just trade. You know, especially when you're talking on the phone, right? Hey, I'll trade you Gambini for so and so and so and so. Only if you give me like an extra few, like $500,000, right? It's like, yeah, sure. There were like a bunch of kids on the playground going, here you got. I'll give you Logan. It's like, no, it was kids on the playground playing cards, and I was like, I didn't realize. I don't know how true that is, but I feel like it's quite true to see people just like trade cards or trade players like their cards, and afterwards it's
I used to do it.
About what, you trade players? What?
No. I like in terms of like Like cards. Like I used to collect football cards when I was at school, and we used to trade all the time. But yeah,
Yeah, but it's just seeing it like because the way that he was talking about it, it was like playing cards, but it's not actual people, and they're getting traded, and it seems a bit weird. And like especially with the film, and I guess because as we were saying that when we if we were to actually watch the games, we'll pop in and pop out and stuff. He didn't really watch his own games at all, and I guess that's the point of like he didn't want to have that connection with the players. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
like again movie magic or like actual things that have happened. Again, I don't know the
that
full
wasn't
details.
that wasn't really the reason why he didn't watch the games. He didn't like to watch the games because he is still bitter about how his career didn't pan out the way he wanted it to.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
So-
it's not a
Mhm.
hate for them, but like a own sort of like self-loathing thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
and he also learned very quickly that being a general manager of a team requires you to make the hard decisions, especially in franchise sports where you're cutting players all the time.
Yeah, which I think was actually quite an interesting bit of acting because like because he was like, okay, we're trading players. Join the heels character, tell him we got traded. Well, but why am I getting told? Why am I telling him? You got to get used to it because that's what you got to be doing. And it's like,
Well,
it's don't be nervous, just be honest, be straight with him. We'll be accepting. It's like, I don't think so. He'll get upset, right? And it's like, no, he's not gonna be upset. Trust me. And he got to the scene. So you're being traded. Okay.
Well, you will
I'm gonna get more
notice.
money.
You'll notice
Yeah,
that players are obviously disappointed when they get cut or traded, but nothing hurts more than being told that you've been dropped down a level, like that one player did.
Oh
like,
yeah.
We can't carry 26 guys. You're getting sent down. Like
Yeah.
for a player, that's like playing in the Premier League and being told you're playing with the under 21s.
Was that what I meant? I thought
Like
he was
the
just being
Bastions
cut
Rome side.
completely.
Yeah.
I thought it was just being cut completely. That's why I thought that's why I said it's like he essentially was like going, "You've been fired." I thought that's what that meant. No, so he just means he's just been dropped to level.
Yeah, so basically he has a chance of coming back up if there's an injury or someone's really out of form, and he's doing well in AAA, which
So
is
he's like,
the next level down.
so he's like, okay, we're gonna have to put you on the back burner because he's just not good
Yeah.
enough for this. Actually, no, yeah, that hurts as well. Actually.
Yeah,
It's
for
probably
me
worse,
that
yeah.
I'd rather be cut because then I'd
Yeah.
just find another team.
Oh yeah, fuck. Yeah, that's sad. Oh.
But yeah, it's franchise sport is very vicious in that way. Like if you're not like one of the best sort of top, I don't know, in baseball, say top 100 players, you're at risk of being cut and traded all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
that's,
you could see like when Brad Pitt's character as well when he did like watch the game or when he came like in person to watch the 20th win game or possible 20th win game, you could see how much it was hurting him to go through that. How much he
Yeah.
was feeling. He did not want. This is part of why he didn't like Pat was saying the bitterness, but also he can't go through that. He doesn't want to put himself through that. He wants to keep that distance for reasons. And I was just like, yep, fair enough. I get it. Yeah, he's like, oh, forget it, whatever. Let me turn on the radio, and then obviously he gets hooked. It's like,
but again, Chris Pratt's
Okay.
player was the one who did that. Which is like another thing. He got the home run, but it was a walk-in home run. I don't know the difference.
Walk
And I
off.
just-
So basically, if the score is tied or sometimes if you're behind, and it's at the bottom of the ninth inning or bottom of any inning, and you hit a home run that puts you ahead in the game, it's considered a walk-off because there's no need for the other team to bat because they've already had that part of the inning.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like it's kind of like in football where it's level after 95 minutes and then you score a goal to win the game.
Right, so it's like
Yeah.
extra time ball.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're already in extra time. There's no point playing anymore.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That explains. It's like, yeah. Hi. I guess people who watch this know one more idea about baseball and how it's played. Yeah.
people that watch this would be like, "How does this guy watch films? He just spends all his time watching sports."
But
And
like,
I
no.
shall answer that by saying with great difficulty. Because
Yeah,
if
okay.
I'm, as much as I love a movie or a game, if I'm offered a sport, I'm more leaning towards the sport because it's just
You
so
got
easy for me to watch.
you got any films coming up you're planning to watch in the cinema?
Yeah, many.
If I have time.
My movie and TV show list is probably as big as my game backlog.
Oh, dude, Jesus Christ, man. That your game backlog is fucking like just yeah.
One sec. What? Let me turn my screen around.
Probably
To
play as
be
many
honest,
games. Yeah, you play as many games as John does, and John doesn't get through all of them as well. So it's like, you know.
Well, I've managed to play 2 this week. One obviously was the PlayStation 5 tech demo, Astro's Playroom. I got my
Nice.
platinum on
oh, you
that.
finally played that.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
but I've also just finished Stray, which is such a good game.
Oh, straight. Oh,
Like it's about a cat and robots in a
Yeah. It's very
that's great.
in depth for what it is. It's about you're playing as a cat, but it's like there's a big story behind it. It's
yeah,
like,
the emotional depth in that game was incredible. Like I didn't expect it. Like I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, and it's only an indie game as well.
Yeah.
Wait.
Is it like double A?
Yeah, I'd say it'd be more lovely. I
but
think it
because
launched at like £20.
oh yeah, but it's funny
Mm.
because it's the one game that was in that round for like Game of the Year awards, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Why is Stray there? It's just about you're a cat. You knock shit off the
No.
table." And it's like,
Such a
no,
great game.
it's a lot of stuff behind it. But it's like, yeah, but it's not going to win against something like God of War. So don't even bother, right? But it's like, yeah. But it's like, yeah.
I mean, sorry.
No, I was going to say, it's just like, it's so many games. I'm just glad that I don't have a PS5 and I heard that Destiny 3 is coming out supposedly. If I get like hooked on that Destiny cocaine feeling again, let's go.
Well, it's gonna need to go some to hook me again because I've had a problem with 2 since it come out.
Oh man, I played Destiny so much. It was really a cocaine addiction. That's terrible.
The first game was great. I just
It
don't
was.
think much of the second one.
It was no. Second one was. It was started decent. Then after the first couple of raids, it felt a bit. It felt like it fell off a bit, and I was like, I couldn't get into it. I was like, okay, we'll go cold turkey. Go get rid of the cocaine addiction. Okay, just yeah. But that's about it. But sorry,
Oh,
back
yeah.
to the film. It's it's interesting to see how like. I guess it's like it's interesting to see how one would act out things that happened in. Well, I'm not quite sure how accurate it is to real life, and seeing Brad Pitt's character be like just struggling and be like, "Shit, we're stuck, we're fucked. We're at the bottom. I don't know what to do, and like maybe I can trade this guy to the other guy's team, and like he can give me." But the other guy was just like ignoring him until Jonah Hill's character came in and I talked to him. I was like, "Who are you? What makes you so special?" And it's like, "No, I'm just a maths guy. I'm just do the maths. I'm just the guy who does the numbers and stuff." Okay. I want you to do the maths for me. And it's just like, oh, okay, cool. And it's just like it was a bit odd seeing it like that. Because like the chemistry or at least the beginning of the chemistry for the characters was him like, yes, he gets on the bases. How many times? 12 times more. Yes, 12 times more. It just clicks his fingers at it. And it's like, okay, sure. And it's like,
That was
I guess-
great. The
it,
whole
it was
scene.
it was funny seeing how it like progressed and like seeing how it all like I guess it's what's the phrase? It's like trust the process, or how I'd say just let them cook. We're at the bottom of the we're at the bottom of the league. We're at the bottom of the table. It can't get any worse. At least we're trying something new, and once we tried something new, it got better and it got better and it got better into that 19th win. Then it got a bit complicated, but it got the 20th win, and that was like groundbreaking. So it's like a lot of process to be trusted, but the story progressed through that way because real life progressed that way. Because if you only got to the 19th inning, 19th win but lost, it wouldn't be in the story. It's it'd be just like right, yeah. So it's a.
I mean, saying that, it still would have been. They still would have been making some kind of history, because when was the last time any team got that many wins in a row? And they've done it on what budget?
That's
That was still
30 something million.
that was still a huge. That was still a huge thing.
Mm.
Oh man, yeah.
I suppose
The dude,
it's a bit like it's a bit like Leverkusen now, because this is something where like I feel so disillusioned with football, because Bayer Leverkusen in Germany have gone. Is it 47 games unbeaten now, Pat?
Yeah, you were right.
whoa,
They did score late.
Yeah, it's mad. So like it looks like we're right near the end of
47.
we're right near the end of the season now, and it looks like they're going to be the first team in history in like a big league to go completely unbeaten. So that's like in their league games, cup games, Europe, like everything. Like they could be the first team in history to do
Whoa.
it, and they've done it without big money, like without being a glamour team and all of that kind of stuff. So they're on the edge of like doing this amazing thing that no one's ever been able to do before, including all these teams with much bigger budgets and everything else. But all anyone is talking about is where the manager and the players are going to go next, and it's like
Wait, what?
you're about to do this thing which makes you like which technically means that you've had the best season ever in the history of the
Yeah.
sport. And all we're talking about is like how your best players are going to go to another team in Germany, and your manager's going to go and
What?
manage somebody over here or in Spain instead. And it's like, well, what can you do if you can have the best season in the history of
Oh
the
my
sport and
goodness.
still lose everyone? Then what's the point? Like,
I mean,
No,
it's,
that
I
that
mean,
that.
it's because isn't that kind of like what kind? Well, I say kind of happened. It kind of happened in the movie as well, because it nearly happened, my mistake, because he got offered like the biggest fucking like pay for that fucking check for like was it like 12.5 million or something like
A
that?
year,
Yeah, 12.5 million a year, and it's like that's. I think no one else has ever been paid that much in the history of sports
yeah,
just to
that's
be a
like the
manager.
third of the team that he built just for him.
Yeah. But like it's kind of like, but unfortunately that's what happened in like the like monologue. Well, I say monologue. They're like interlude scene as well, because they won that 20th game. They were so happy, but even Billy Bean was like, yeah, okay, this is what we're gonna do next. And obviously Jonah Hill's characters, what do you mean next? You already changed history. We've been the best. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, I want to go to Major League. I mean, I want to win. I don't really want to win, because this is actually a part that kind of confuses. It's like he wants to win, but doesn't want to win, because essentially what he wants is like, I don't want the ring. I don't care about the ring. I don't care about the state. I don't care about the thing. I just want to win just to prove that I was right, I think is what he was trying to say. And I was like, so you do want to win. You just don't care about the money, or like you don't care
yeah.
about like.
He wants to win his way,
I guess
not
that's
Yeah.
true, but
not.
it was,
I think he wanted to win with Oakland and not take an easy win that he would have got with Boston, LA, or New York.
Because he would have had more of a budget. He would
Yeah.
have been able to get all the people he needed to get
So-
to yeah.
If he ever watches this stream, I challenge him to take over Boston now, because they're a fucking mess.
But that was something else that I thought was really cool about the story, to be honest, is that the Red Sox managed to win with his system but without him. I think that's like the
Yeah.
ultimate win, man. Like that's such a cool
Yeah.
legacy that your philosophy has gone on to like do the same for somebody else without you having to be a part of it.
And it's not even his system; it's Jonah Hill's one.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's yeah, it proves him right so much more than if he'd gone there though, because it's like
Yeah.
it proves that it's a repeatable thing, and it's like it's not about the people who are involved in it. It's just about the philosophy. I think that's really cool.
He could, in like 100 years' time, when we're all long gone, be considered the front office Babe Ruth.
That's an
Like,
interesting thought.
Oh,
Yeah.
like if you're not familiar with Babe Ruth, he's like the greatest baseball player to ever play.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
a
the
really
reason why the
interesting
Red Sox didn't win for 100 years.
Mhm.
Because they won a title and then he left for New York and they called it the Curse of the Bambino.
Oh, is that why the Red Sox and the Yankees have such a rivalry?
well,
As part of it, yeah.
yeah, it's like what I mean, like because they're so. I mean, they're technically very close.
It's
to each
separated
other,
by
so-
a bridge anyway.
Yeah, and like the fans
Mhm.
really make it
Yeah.
worse. So sometimes you get really
Fans make
terrible
everything
drunk
worse though, don't
baseball
they?
Fans. It's just like yeah, it's
I
true.
can-
That's true. That's true.
I
It's
complain
just
about
like-
fans, but I'm no different. I'd be like, fuck Liverpool, fuck New York, fuck the Raiders.
So your reactions are a big catalyst in why I love seeing Man United lose.
Well,
Oh,
you
man.
you should have seen me live when the Chelsea game turned around. I was fucking fuming.
Are you annoyed today about the Burnley result?
No, not
Oh, you're not just giving up.
for
on
me.
the
The season's over. What's the point?
Uh,
I looked at my phone and it said Anthony scored. I was like, fucking hell, the fidget spinner did something. And then
to,
5 minutes later, I got
Oh.
another alert on my phone. It's like, well, that was coming, wasn't it?
to be honest, I think after today, I've kind of given up on this season now because it's like that 2-2 draw against Liverpool was the worst result for both of us because it's put them out of the title race and it's put us out of Europe.
Sport, eh? I'm just now looking. Well, the Lakers are basically done. They're 3-0 down against the Nuggets now. The other night they blew a 20-point lead in Game 2.
Was it really 20 point?
Yeah, and LeBron missed a wide open three to put the game to bed.
LeBron though, I mean, I don't know.
But
man.
LeBron's not a 3-point shooter. I don't know why he keeps doing it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, he's kind of got to that point in his career where, like, he's trying to take shortcuts because he's so old. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not like tarnishing his legacy, but like he's missed a step.
Well, I mean-
He's a solid number 2, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, so who's number one then?
MJ, of course.
I was gonna say
You're
who's
talking to
number-
two big MJ fans.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you're not gonna say like Shaquille O'Neal, right? Because like Shaquille O'Neal is
Hey, look,
very smart business guy.
if I could, I'd put Kobe number 2. But
That's fair enough.
he's definitely a top 5 for me. Like, there's so much sort of like emotional fanboyism for me surrounding Kobe. That's why when he died, it hit me really hard.
I think you can
But-
take him as number 2, man. I don't think that's an unreasonable one to put there.
I have him as a 3 because I'm basic. My list isn't players that have played the game; it's players that I've seen.
Yeah.
So like, it's pointless me putting Wilt Chamberlain in the top 5 because I've never seen him play.
Plus, to be fair, like Wilt Chamberlain, I don't want to take away from his legacy, but like the sport was different when he played it. So it's,
Him and Bill Russell were like 10 foot taller than everyone else.
yeah, like things have changed a lot since they played.
Yeah, and the league was like only like 8 teams in it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's always a fun thing to sort of debate. But some people take it too far and get really personal.
I mean, I feel like it's different for at least the group here because I mean, as much as like I've seen people play all these sports, I really don't care. Or yeah, you know, I mean, like I know that sounds a bit harsh, and I realize I get told people say that sounds harsh, but it's like it generally thinks like it's not something I really. It doesn't concern me as much. I think I told you guys about like my cousin with the Chicago Bulls, right? But apart from that, it's like Okay, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool, it's cool, it's cool. Who else is playing? Okay, I don't know any of the names of these people. I know, like, I've heard like some names in like passing. I was like, oh, Kobe Bryant is different because I've seen the adverts when he used to do it with like Messi or with like Emirates or Turkish Airlines, and that
Yeah.
fucking advert,
Those
fucking
adverts are great.
hilarious. That yeah, it's
Oh,
that
I
was
haven't seen this.
it's great. It's so good because you see the kid. Okay, I say it's like the kid goes into first class and it's like, oh my god, is that Messi? And it's like, can you sign my ball? And you're like, and you hear hey in the background, and it's Kobe Bryant. And afterwards he's like spinning the ball, and the kid goes over to get it signed by Kobe Bryant. And afterwards Messi's got like balloon animals. And Kobe Bryant's got bigger balloon animals, and he's afterwards got like stacks of cards. And afterwards he was like super confused, and the airline hostess goes, "Would you like some ice cream?" And the kid drops both the balls and goes, "Ice cream!" And goes and gets ice cream. And Kobe Bryant, and like he's just got a big fucking balloon animal, and like Messi's got like the stacks of cards, and they're both looking like a bunch of arseholes, and it's like, "Do you get some ice cream?" "Yeah, let's get some ice cream." And it's just like, it's so perfect. Like I don't watch basketball or football that much, but I know who those two are, and it's just something about it. It's just it really catches your like thing. But like for basketball, let's go back to basketball for just a second. It's like I hear names. It's like I was like, okay, who's Larry Bird? Why is he important? I don't know. Is he very tall? Okay, that's about it. That's like I just hear the names. Don't know any of the bases to any of these people. And that's like, okay, cool. That's about it.
Larry Bird and Magic Johnson
Oh yeah, Magic Johnson, yeah.
were like to the 80s what Michael Jordan was to the 90s and what Kobe Bryant was to the 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Larry Bird and Magic Johnson though, like that was like they were so lucky to have each other because they were just like the opposites of one another. But it also happened to be that they were on like opposing teams that were always competing with one another. So it was just like the perfect like setup.
And they're close mates now as well,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
which
That's
is nice.
Yeah, I mean, like there's definitely like rivalries in like any sports teams, but like after the sports is all done, you're not really playing anymore. We're like, yeah, we'll grab a beer. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, we just talk about other stuff. Like, yeah, it's very peaceful and zen, I guess. But like, unfortunately, can that happen nowadays? It could, but it doesn't seem to. It's just like everyone is just making like it's very business oriented. Like with Jordan, it's very much because of like, well, the Nike and Air Jordans now. But like, but for things like with Shaquille O'Neal, it's like it's because he's did the slightly opposite version of that. It's like no one makes shoes that look like good shoes, but I want to make it for everyone to be available. That's why my shoes are available in like Walmart and shit. And it's like, yeah, that's fair enough. It's like it's very business orientated, and that's a good thing, I guess. But it's kind of like it's because it's for the masses, and that's who you're playing for the masses and for the public. And it's like,
you should pick Air at some point as well, Pat. That'd be really interesting.
That is on my list. Like,
Yeah, nice.
I remember when we were talking about that before I come out, and like, you were like, I think you'll really like it. I'm not too sure to what level. When I come out of it, I was like, I love this.
Yeah, it is a good film.
Yeah.
It's, it's an interesting one because that's kind of about what you were saying, Simon, about like the business side of it, but it's like a different part of the business side of it because it's all about like Michael Jordan getting his sponsorship deal and like negotiating it and sort of like basically sort of how important his mum was in it as well. And yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, but that's why I said like as a double bill, it could have been like the founder, because like it's about the McDonald's thing, but it's kind of like the reason why McDonald's is built that way, or like the reason why the business is built that way, is because he revolutionized it to be that way, and that's interesting to watch as well. And it could have been like notes compared to the baseball thing, where it's like baseball has played this because of this person. Fast food joints have done it like this because of this person, and that's like, oh, That would have been an interesting sort of watch. I know for a fact that the Founder is on my list. I don't know when I'll pick it. Probably not this year. But like, it's like I'll probably choose another. But it's like something about it. It's just like because it's sort of like, I guess it's kind of like ambition and a hunger for like the maths behind it or like the business behind it, and it makes those characters very like interesting to watch. Like because as much as Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean has like sort of character and like how much he does, it was more interesting to watch Jonah Hill kind of like fumble around with the numbers and like the videos and stuff because it was kind of like, yeah, but this is the point of it. That's kind of like the basis of like what I'm trying to do. See these statistics, and it shows you all the fucking statistics, and it's just like this is what I'm trying to make it into, and it's like, too much maths for me. I just can't stare at it too much. Yeah. And it's like little, and there's also it adds to like all the little bits to make the film. Like there's also like maybe I don't know. I feel like the vending machines being $1 is like a thing that a player probably actually said in real life. And it's like because he plays it, he goes, why is it not putting out? No, the sodas are $1 each. It's like, what the fuck? What? Why is it $1 each? It's only like 50 cents in like in other places. It's like, I don't know. It seems like such a minute thing, but I feel like it's part of the history of what makes the players the players.
Yeah.
And after
I guarantee there's none of them in any clubhouse anymore because of all this sports science now.
Yeah. Do you know what though? That bit where the guy was like, where he was talking about it, and the other guy was like, "Oh yeah, he likes all the money to be on the field," and he was like, "Where is this dollar on the field?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be me."
I could imagine it as well. Oh man, I just realized, just talking about a lot of strategy and all tactics. And I basically do this for work. I'm basically trying to do Jonah Hill's character's job. That's basically my job. I look at tons of numbers and sheets and then make predictions from them.
Yeah, do you have videos to look at about someone who tries to steal second base but slips down, but it doesn't matter because he hits a home run? I don't know. If you have that on your work schedule, I think I need to ask you what you do for your job. But it's like, you know.
Do you know what though? Mate? If your job is Jonah Hill, I think my job is basically Brad Pitt because I spend most days just wandering around going, "You're doing this wrong. You should do this in a different."
My job is definitely Chris Pratt's one then, but with much less enjoyment.
Oh, that means I'm secretary lady. Just makes us our own coffee. Cool. Is the coffee on? Yes. Okay.
I could imagine you being Man United secretary. Her name is Kathy. She's been there for like 60 years.
She's still there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
She's in the Beckham documentary.
Yeah, like she was there when Matt Busby was there as well.
That's mad.
Yeah, like she's worked under two of the greatest Scottish managers we've ever had. Also, one of the worst.
Wow. That's...
Man.
Sorry, I had to get that dig in, Rob.
Cool.
Did you see what he said in his press conference today?
No.
Oh, it was quite funny actually. Somebody asked how he felt about Klopp leaving Liverpool, and he was like, "He's fucking too big. His teeth are too bright. I'm glad to see the back of him."
No. Oh man.
That's pretty funny. Speaking of conferences, did you hear what bloody Ten Hag said today?
No, I didn't know.
He said, "I think we're the most entertaining team in the league."
Oh wow!
I was like, "Well, you could have fucking fooled me."
Yeah, that's a big claim for us.
I was like, it's great. You go forward a lot, but then everyone goes forward, and then we get counted on, and there's like this big bit of field for them to run into because all the midfielders are up.
That's a mad thing to say. You're basically playing Sam Allardyce football at the minute. Yes.
We're sixth. I don't give a shit what he thinks. We're playing like shit. I didn't mean to transition into this.
That reminded me of a quick question. That actually reminds me of a thing. I don't know how much baseball you guys actually know, but like for Chris Pratt's character, he used to be he actually used to be
A catcher.
a catcher, right?
For catch.
So basically, a stop.
But so did he change positions or what? He
Yeah.
got told to change. Is that like switching from being a defender to a midfielder? I don't know how much difference that is.
It's a big transition if you're a catcher. Like a lot of players currently, especially catchers, do have the ability to play first base. First base is a very difficult position to play because if you're taking it as like a right-handed batter, you're always the person that's got to take the catch at first base when they're throwing someone out. Also, if there's someone on first base and they're at risk of stealing seconds, they've got to be able to be alert enough to hold the player there. There's so much that you have to do. Easier playing third base. All you got to worry about is potential ball flying past your face and have to. Well, they call it the hot corner in baseball. So it's a very good chance of you seeing action and you having to be very quick, but you don't have to worry about the stuff that first base has to do, which is never transition to third base.
So I suppose it's kind of similar to like I don't know, maybe a striker becoming a centre back or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The easiest transition is probably outfield to second base and shortstop because it requires similar-ish movement.
So okay. So it's not. So his transition was a much larger transition than someone else because he used to just be a catcher and that's usually what he just because it's like what did they say about Brad Pitt's character? He's the guy that has like the full like tool set, right? And it's like there's like 6 tools in baseball and he's got all of the tools and it's like I didn't quite get all of that. Again, I'm really into the sport. So it's kind of like I was just trying to think so if he's like catching now but he's hitting and he just needs to run, or is it like I just couldn't get through to me. I kind of understand it now. So it's not as big an extreme as someone goes, oh yeah, you used to be a forward, right? You're now the goalkeeper. It's just like oh wait, that's a big transition there.
Yeah,
but it's like
that's a bit different.
Yeah, but
I'd say if I was to use it in football terms, it'd probably be like I consider it like what Mikel Antonio is. Like he made a transition from right back to centre forward, but he's never going to be perfect at it because that's not the position he trained for as a kid. Yeah, but that's sort of the extreme transition that I'd say.
So is it kind of like because that's sort of like a utility player kind of thing, like because. With Antonio, so like we bought him as a left winger, and then he played for us at right back, and then Moyes converted him to a striker, so he kind of like went all over the pitch.
Yeah, so basically, Chris Pratt's character basically his knees were gone basically. So, oh no, it wasn't his knees; it was his elbows, wasn't it? So he wasn't able to grip the ball well enough or to throw it. So, like, a catcher has to be able to throw someone out at second base. If he was put as catcher, every team would be stealing second base. Literally everyone, and they wouldn't have had that win streak because they wouldn't have been able to hold players on their bases. But because he was such a good hitter, and we're like, why not put him on first base? I mean, nowadays, I think they'd probably just put him as a DH, so he wouldn't field at all.
So is it kind of
DH
like
is designated hitter.
So is it kind of like a more extreme version of like what Schweinsteiger did, where like he started as a right winger and then moved to midfield because his legs went?
Yeah, a bit like Ryan Giggs as well.
Yeah.
Before he took up beating his wife or girlfriend or whatever it was.
Doing many morally questionable things. Although I think the other morally questionable thing he did, he was doing throughout his career, wasn't
he? Yeah.
As long as the questionable thing doesn't like invented to go into the sport itself, he's fine, right? I mean, if he does his sport well enough, anything is possible.
That was like
Well,
a
I
really
mean,
like uplifting sentence for a really like I don't know. What's the opposite of uplifting?
downbeat.
Downhearted.
Demoralizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Adding to Chris Pratt's character in real life, he wasn't a great first base
No, he
man.
was he was good enough.
Yeah, he was all right.
But
Yeah,
the thing is, Oakland were never going to win a World Series with him at first base because it is a very much a specialist position. And
mm,
from what I remember, because I saw a documentary about it a few years back, he had a lot of errors as well. So generally, the best teams are the ones with the fewest errors, and unfortunately for him, for the good stuff that he did, it sort of also brought negatives. But this sort of period of his career prolonged his career. Like I think he played for Oakland for 3 years and then moved on and played for someone else for 2 years and then retired. Yeah, which is pretty
that's
cool.
good. Especially when he probably felt it was probably over.
Yeah, I think he was pretty convinced because I think it was Boston he was playing for at the time,
Yeah,
and
I
they were
think
like,
so.
"Yeah, we're gonna let you go." And you're like, if you're playing for a team that long and you've had pretty debilitating injuries, I'd imagine his confidence was down in the dumps. So it's probably, Chris Pratt plays characters in such a way where he's able to play the depressed kind of character really well. Because like even at times in
Yeah,
Guardians with Star Lord has moments where he's quite down in the dumps, and he plays that so well. Of
yeah.
all the things to say that he plays well, he plays a depressed dude quite well. So
That's really true.
yeah,
He's a great actor.
but
He, he just
when I was picking this, I for some reason thought it was Sam Worthington. And I was like, yeah, good thing it wasn't him actually, because he's not the best actor, is he?
Oh.
I don't even remember what this person looked like. I need to look him up.
He's in Avatar. That's probably the thing I like him in the most.
To be fair,
Oh,
it says a lot that he's like the main
him.
guy in Avatar, but he's not really in anything else.
He's in a few things. Like, have you seen a film called Man on the Ledge?
No, I've not seen that.
You probably hate it, to be fair, but I quite enjoyed it.
I've seen him in
Clash of Titans.
Clash of the Titans.
I was about to
Yeah,
say,
that was
Terminator
alright.
Salvation.
Terminator Salvation, which I have a love-hate relationship with. When we watched it as part of our events, I was like, yeah, it's a bit shit. But then I watched it again afterwards. I was like, I actually don't mind this.
Oh man,
it's not Genesis or Genesis.
Yeah,
I'll take
Genesis is-
Salvation. Yeah, I'll take Salvation over Genesis. Way
what,
much more.
What a sentence!
I would take a lump of poo over Genesis.
Oh,
I'd take Genesis over certain films, so yeah.
Oh, I didn't
man.
realise Sam Worthington was in Hacksaw Ridge as well.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah,
So was Spider-Man. What's his name?
Toby
the second
Maguire,
one.
what?
No, not that one. The second one.
Wait, Sam
Andrew
Worthington was
Garfield.
in the first Terminator.
Andrew Garfield.
No, he was in Salvation.
Yeah, on
Future
on
War
Google
one.
it says that he was in the first one as well.
Yeah,
Nah, that's wrong.
apparently.
That's got to be wrong.
I mean, potentially he might have been one of the kids in it because he would have been about like
That's
8, 9
true.
at the time.
If he was an extra,
Yeah,
He
that's
could
really
have
cool.
He's an
Yeah.
extra and then turned into a robot.
That's really cool if he was like good. I mean, it's a shame the film was shit, but like good for him if he was in the first and then his own.
I'm so desperate for a good future war film out of that. Like, there's so much lore that they could tap into if someone. Same with films like Alien. Like, I know they're rebooting it, and I think we got it coming out this year, where it's supposed to be a similar vibe to the very first one. But at this point, I don't really trust it
No, I
Oh,
don't.
because
think
it's
like,
Disney as well.
The
Look,
thing that makes me worry about it is that the director of it, I forget who it is now, but the director was like, "Yeah, we're gonna really like make Alien political," and it's like, have you watched any of them? Like they're very political already. Like you're
I
not
mean,
doing anything new.
well, I mean, like but also like as a problem with like those franchises is because the stories that are told and could be told are usually done through not movies, video games, books, light novels, and all that shit. That's where all your cool alien stuff and all the other stuff is like in, because like playing alien video games is such a fucking good thing. Just playing the alien video games are such good. It could be even the worst version of the alien video games, which is like Colonial Marines, is still a pretty decent alien game because it's kind of fun just to see like the story unfold. And it's just like, yeah, because I know because I played Colonial Marines, so I don't need anyone to give me judgment on that. Just playing that, and it's like, man, the game is a bit shit, but the story is fascinating, and it's just seeing how it all plays out is great because you see like you can play as the Marines, but you can also play as the alien and as a predator, and you can see like how their story plays out, and it's like that's awesome, and like, but it's in video game form. Like every time they make a movie, it's just gonna be like, oh no, they have to make something really fresh and like something really. It has to be something so interesting, or it's gonna be like not. It could be like predators, and it'd be like it could be like it could. Then after, I mean, they tried something different with Prey. It was different, so give them that. And it's like, okay, fair enough. But then after this, they did like, what was the fucking other alien movies that they tried to do? Oh, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they tried to reboot Alien anyway. No, I feel like there was another one after Prometheus, but I can't quite remember. What it could have been Covenant, right? I know.
Yeah, that wasn't the best.
I think one of the. I agree with what you were saying, Pat. With like, it has the potential of like a great future war film. I think one of the big things that holds it back is legacy so far, and the kind of, I guess, characters involved and whatnot. You would really need someone who completely goes away from that and goes, you know what? How do I make just something that's really, really good at the heart of it and not tied down by what came before? Because, of course, that's what the studios are going to really like fund and give the budget for and care about. But at the end of the day, if like you don't necessarily need that to weigh you down while you're trying to make something really good, because you could make something even better that strikes a kind of similar chord to like the early ones did. But would they even get the chance to do that? Like, but yeah, I get what you're saying. And another thing that you reminded me about, I think you, Pat, I can't remember, but reminded me about how easily pitchers in baseball get injured and how short their careers are.
Yeah.
And I think even when I was young, kind of like slightly put off for a moment thinking, crap, how long can you throw like this? It's just like...
So I can only go based on me playing cricket. Like bowling or pitching takes a lot out of your body. Like, so I used to try and bowl fast, but what tends to happen is like when you're sort of swinging your arm around, I used to get lots of pins and needles in my shoulder and on my fingertips. But it's what I worked out over time was the best that did it spent a lot of time in the gym strengthening those parts. whereas obviously I was quite a novice. Like I, in the end, had to stop striving to bowl quicker,
Yeah.
because it was the discomfort I was getting in my arm wasn't really worth it. So for a little while, I tried bowling spin to see if I could get good at that. I was all right at it,
Yeah.
but I wasn't
Mhm.
sort of. It wasn't something that was going to make me pop out to other people, like be like, "Oh, this guy's actually really good." What I was good at was
Mm.
trying to bowl as quick as I could, but I was also able to get sort of movement off the pitch as well. And that's how I ended up getting games. But yeah, it's being a pitcher or a bowler is quite a difficult job,
So you were
especially the way cricket's gone now. Bowling is a tough job.
the Jimmy Greaves of your school, where you wouldn't go to the gym and you wouldn't do the preparation, but it would still work somehow.
I mean, to be fair, when was this? This is like what, be coming up on 20 years now. So like sports science and
Yeah, it's
and
come a
way
long
you prepare yourself has changed so much.
Yeah, ever since Arsene Wenger, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, even playing football, I never really did any gym work. I just knew what I was good at. I was a good centre midfielder. My team kept putting me at centre back. Someone who didn't like tackling, putting them at centre back. That was a great decision, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness,
Do you know what,
that was
though?
my position.
To
I
me,
like that position. I love tackling.
it
I hated
shows,
it.
it shows you how much like football has changed since we were in school, though, because I was a right back, and there's no way I'd be able to do all the work of a right back now.
I was pretty much a kid version of Paul Scholes,
Oh,
except that I wasn't ginger. I was asthmatic. I was good at passing. I was good at shooting. My tackling was terrible.
I think I was more of a Roberto Carlos. I think like sort of just hide while the game's going on, but if there's a free kick, I'll take it.
Oh
I
man.
wasn't bad at free kicks because obviously I idolised David Beckham when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I used to get motivated after every game I watched, and he'd score a banger of a free kick, and I'd go around the side of the house and just I'd set like a barrier up, and I'd just try and curl it like him. But I could never get the whip that he got. Like it was insane the amount of whip on the ball he used to get. I could get curl on it. So like if I'm taking it from the left side, I could curl it into the right side. I couldn't get it to come back on itself, which was which like is a unique
Yeah,
ability.
that's
Like
scary.
when people say he's overrated, I'm like, you go and take a free kick like him and tell me he's overrated.
Yeah,
But he got-
that is not easy.
No.
To be
But he
fair,
learned
like
how
he was overshadowed a bit by himself because he was a brilliant footballer, but because he was such a celebrity, like that's what you
Yeah.
associate him with instead.
Well, I watched the first episode of his documentary. I need to go back to it. Like, I feel sorry for Fergie for having to deal with him because, like, he was purely football motivated. He's like, you live, breathe, eat, sleep, whatever, football. And then you got David Beckham who's like, yeah, I'm going to fly down to London on my day off because I've got a girlfriend down there. While everyone else is there eating their pasta or whatever. It must be such a difficult job as a coach, like in any sport, having to deal with as much as like David Beckham, he was a prima donna.
Mm.
I mean, you could tell he was like that when he fouled that other guy with the little
Oh,
whip
yeah.
kick that he used to do.
Can I just say, I still hate Diego Simeone to this day.
Yeah,
Where I've told people, like I talk to a lot of Man United fans online and stuff. I said that if Simeone becomes our manager, I'm not watching the team until he's gone.
Imagine if he did, man. That'd be huge.
Yeah, I don't want it. I really don't.
It would make me hate Man United, man. Because like
I'd cancel my club membership.
Oh, but
I would cancel my club membership.
It can only get worse if he just like he got that video, fucking like framed the second that he lifted his leg and hit him in the back of his leg, and like put a big picture right in front of Manchester United Stadium. I could just imagine that. I'd be like, Yeah, remember this? I always remember this. Now you'll never forget it. Just be like, but in any case, sorry. We should go back to baseball for a second because it's still the baseball
It's
film.
easy to transition to other sports, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about college basketball in my head.
Yeah, but like as the problem is with baseball, talking about baseball is fairly boring. Playing baseball is great. Talking about the maths and statistics side of it, not so much. This is why we kind of need it.
It's quite difficult for me to talk about baseball purely because Emmanuel, not so much because I'm assuming you grew up around baseball anyway.
Yeah.
Trying to explain the sport is a bit like cricket. There's so many layers to it. Like, I don't think I've completely got baseball, like in terms of the statistical side. Like, there's some stats. It's a bit like with football with XG. Like, there's some sort of similar baseball statistic like that, and I'm like, how are we working this out? Like, yeah, same. Like, but there's so many elements to it. Like, I know a lot of the statistical side of it. Like, a stat thing called WHIP, which is walks and hits per innings pitched. There's like WAR. I can't remember what that stands for, but like that's stuff that will take a while for you guys to pick up. Like, they're not really that important, but like if you get deep into the sport, that's a pretty cool thing to try and pick up. Especially since like I do watch a lot of baseball, so I'll be like, oh, what's this guy about? Let's see. And I use that on my baseball game, so I'm like, right, so what's this? What are these categories? Okay, I'll sign him to a whatever contract. It's quite a nice thing to look into.
I do think like it is a really nice pick, like from just sort of like a sort of like standing start kind of thing. Because I think if it was more about the sport itself, I would have just been sat there for a lot of it. Like, I don't know what the fuck anyone's talking about. But because it's all just kind of like, well, it's one guy proving himself and sort of like taking on sort of like an old school style of thinking and trying to sort of show that his way is a better way of doing things. But then it's also like the team building stuff I thought was really interesting, like the kind of like trying to compete with somebody who's got so many more resources than you have and all of that stuff. I thought it was really cool. Like, I think it really made me relate to a sport that I don't really know anything about, and I think that's really cool.
I think like the beauty of films around baseball is that it's not necessarily about the sport itself. Like, Field of Dreams, as far as I'm aware, it's about someone who wished he had a baseball career or something. I can't remember. I don't know for so much. The Jackie Robinson one, 42, is much more like, obviously it shows baseball stuff, but it's more about his fight against racism to become such a prominent player that to this day we have Jackie Robinson Day every season, and everyone wears 42 on their jerseys for that specific day, and everyone has that number.
More sports did that kind of thing.
Yeah, every stadium in Major League Baseball has the number 42 retired. Like, nobody's allowed to wear it except on Jackie Robinson Day.
So wait, the whole number is retired. I thought it was just like, I think, for his team. Oh, that's awesome! I didn't realize. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm not sure if the NBA do it for. No, they don't do it for Michael Jordan, but there's been calls for people to.
I think
like that. Some teams have retired it.
I think there was like
maybe
one season where everyone retired it, and then it was just the Bulls, the Wizard, and weirdly Miami Heat who kept it retired.
It was Miami, yeah. I thought it might have been Boston, but no.
Yeah. That's the annoying thing with Miami Heat, is that they've got the number 23 in their rafters to like signify that it's retired, but it's a half Bulls jersey and a half Wizards jersey. And it's like, the Wizards really don't deserve to be half of that.
Nah. Like, I know we're transitioning back to basketball, but like when people make this argument who was better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, you can make a case for LeBron because at this stage of his career, Michael Jordan was average at best.
Yeah,
Mind you, he
but
had retired like 2 times.
well, that's the thing, like I think Michael Jordan gets a
Yeah.
bit of a pass because he retired at his prime and he still won 6 championships. Like he took
Yeah.
3 years out where he probably would have won 3 more. It's like...
Gave Scottie Pippen a chance to lead the team, but but yeah,
Yeah, this is why I want you to pick Looking for Eric as well. Because like it's not necessarily about the sport, but it's about like what the sport means to someone, and I think that's really cool.
yeah. Have you actually seen it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool film.
Yeah, it's a nice little film. Like, I'm surprised that it had such a long run in the cinemas as well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it had like I think it was on for like 3 weeks because I missed it the first couple of weeks when it was out because I didn't even know it was out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh well, better go and see this before it finishes.
I suppose to be fair, it's a Ken Loach film as well, isn't it? So it's
Yeah, yeah, it's another very me film, isn't it?
yeah, it'll be a really cool pick, I think. And that's probably another one which I think will probably make Alec realise what's cool about sports.
Yeah, I think what Alec probably doesn't like is the people he encounters that are big sports fans outside of us. I
Yeah.
understand it because I hate sport fans.
Yeah.
It's like I just think of the easiest person to think of online is Mark Goldbridge or
Yeah,
Trent, whatever his name is. Like he's the biggest idiot going. He's managed to
all
build
of
up
these
a
fan
big fan
accounts are,
base.
man.
Yeah,
They're all awful because like, that's the thing. Like they all have to say stupid stuff so that people will interact with them because that's how they make
that's
money.
how they make the money, innit?
Yeah. Like there's
And
this
it's
one
like-
guy, I can't remember his name now, but he's basically the West Ham version of him. And like every week he just says like the nastiest shit about David Moyes, and it's just like, dude, like whether your opinion is that he should like go at the end of his contract or not, like the only reason your expectations of West Ham are so high are because of David Moyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
I mean, even Robbie Lyle for Arsenal Fan TV,
Yeah.
he enables a lot of it. Like he's not a bad guy himself.
Mm.
Like he's got quite a lot of knowledge, and I quite like listening to him. But then, I mean, he enables people like, is his name DT, the guy that went to jail
Oh,
for.
yeah, DT, yeah, he's awful.
You have what's that other guy's name that has terrible English?
I don't know.
I can't remember his name. And you also had Claude, who was my favourite.
Yeah, Claude was alright. A couple of them were alright, but a lot of them are just idiots.
Time to go.
It's time to go. Although I disagree with him on that as well, to be fair.
What time to go?
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't say have any big influence or anything, when you said idiot, it reminded me of that person. Was it John or some Lady John or someone posted the other day who like does a lot of random stuff around sport and herself, and I was just like, she needs to go.
Oh,
She needs
I
to
missed
be
that. I don't know
taken
what that
off of
was.
social media.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Do you know what? Do you
You
know
mean
who I'm
the- what-
talking about, Pat?
You mean
It was someone.
lady,
No.
you mean the lady that was like that talked, who did the impression of the guy who knows there is no passion, there is no like thing about in football anymore? Is that the guy, or that the girl that
Maybe, but she also said something. I was like, what the crap? She said when she did this video, said, oh, when your girlfriend, so this seemingly, I don't know her heritage or anything, but the seemingly Caucasian lady saying, oh, when your girlfriend is one ninth Nigerian, and then doing some stuff. I was just like, what the f is going on? I am so confused. What? And when I said that, I think if it was John, he's like, yeah, I agree with you. She needs to go out. Alec might have said the same thing. I can't remember. Anyway, it's just another person who seems to be like, she seems like she's a football fan, but one of the ones you don't want to know.
Oh, Astrid Wet.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I
Yes.
hate that
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah.
I think I've said that before as well.
Not a clue who you're talking about, to be honest.
She's basically a social media influencer that gets her tits out on OnlyFans and goes to Chelsea games.
Yeah, she was the
Yeah.
one who did
Yeah,
a
she
really
get
awful thing where she said that somebody gave her his son's ticket to a game, and then like loads of people started trolling him, and it turned out it was a big lie.
Yeah.
She get her tits out during the Chelsea game.
Well, I mean, it might be the most interesting thing going to a Chelsea game, but no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh,
There's
man.
quite a few of them around as well. Like, I know there's one. I think Man
Particular
United
Chelsea
have one.
games.
Arsenal have
Right.
one. It's just, I just don't understand. Like, it's like there's a lot of women that are into football. Like, there's one that works with Mark Goldbridge on the United stand. She's quite knowledgeable. Like, I'd actually listen to her opinions more than Mark's, just because it's just an opinion. Her opinion. She's not doing it for likes or anything. She's only working for him. And then you have people like Astrid Wet who just goes out there and puts like some stupid shit up there.
Oh,
But
my
then you've got
goodness.
everyone knows how thirsty people are on Twitter. So they're like, oh, she's got OnlyFans, has she? And then they all sign up for it. And then she gets all the money from that, and she gets more fame, and
Which is
she ends up
nice.
getting cup final tickets when genuine fans can't.
This is what annoys me about like everything online now, basically. But like people just continually say like the stupidest shit just so that people reply to them, and then because people
Yeah.
are replying to them, they get more engagement, and it's just like it's just all the same thing. Like it's
Yeah, and it happens. It happens everywhere. Like me and my wife were watching a video the other day where like it's someone who comments a lot on different like the way social media is going these days, and like commenting on like just a lot of the toxic and messed up stuff going on. And yeah, they were saying some of the things like you have a lot of people these days that will say something to trigger people because triggering people's like annoyances and hate can get you more exposure, more followers, and put you more in the limelight than just saying something that's good and true.
Yep.
yeah.
That's very helpful and makes sense. Like you could even have like, let's say you have some random baker who's doing some amazing cakes and cookies and all sorts of stuff, things that are really good. It gets you some followers, but it doesn't get you viral. Suddenly, start doing some controversial stuff, some stuff that make people like get triggered and comment on your post. Suddenly, you
Logan
go
Paul.
viral.
Oh, fucking.
Oh
You
my
had to
goodness!
say that, didn't
And
you?
then you're getting sponsors left, right, and center, and people like that still going these days. I'm just like, how have they not been canceled? Like
Well,
the effed up. I know why they haven't. It just sucks.
you know,
Carry on, sorry,
what's
Pat.
funny is Logan Paul is the poster child for that.
Mm.
Everyone knows what he did with the dead girl's body and stuff. And now he's prominent in WWE. He's the Intercontinental Champion, is it? Or the US Champion? US Champion. He obviously had a falling out with The Rock because he had some sort of deal with him, and then all this stuff came out, and The Rock dropped him like a bad habit. But now apparently The Rock's working with his younger brother.
Wait,
But
didn't he work with his
Random.
younger brother because like his younger brother is friends with like what the fuck is the dude's name?
it's something to do with the UFC.
Oh no, I thought it was because like isn't he like got like a frenemy rival relationship with someone called KSI, and KSI is injured right now because he did like wrestling, but he got like dislocated arm or some shit or something, or dislocated something. and afterwards he's in hospital, can't do wrestling for a while, and that's why he had
Oh,
to deal with Jake.
didn't know about that.
Because them lot have like that weird. They have that weird like rivalry, and afterwards like they had a boxing match with one of the Paul brothers and KSI, but they had headgear and everything on, and it was like, what? This is not a. This is what this because it's something to do with the boxing license. It was pointless bullshit. Like this conversation it's just like it was so boring, and it's like I don't see why do people care about it. And afterwards, but unfortunately, because we're talking about it, it's gonna make it have like things. It's like, oh yeah, you know about when we made Prime energy drinks?
But that's the thing.
Oh
Isn't it?
man,
'Cause, like,
that whole thing.
Because that thing with their boxing promotion, like, is if they had kind of like genuine sort of if they genuinely wanted to be like professional boxers and they did it like in the proper way where, you know, like they fight a bunch of people who, you know, like they're kind of like journeymen, so like they don't have the best records, and so like they kind of like cut their teeth on sort of fighting these sort of lower ranked fighters until they get to the title fights and all that kind of stuff. Like if they did that, we wouldn't be talking about it as much as what they're actually doing, which is fighting fucking Mike Tyson, who, although he was like one of the best in the world when he was an actual boxer, he's now a pensioner, and it's just like it's just fucking dangerous, man. Like you're gonna go and beat up a 60-year-old like it's.
I mean, we just need essentially we just need them to be like put like it could be a note, like a sticky note, but afterwards it just needs to die in obscurity, and it'll be fine. It's kind of the thing that happened with OJ. He's dead now, so I just need them to be like, I don't need them to die. I just need them to be like, oh, they did a thing. Let's not talk about it ever again. And once we don't talk about it ever again, it'll be lost to obscurity. So once it's an obscure subject, won't matter. But until that happens, it's just gonna be the same stupid shit right now. Unfortunately, still see you buy the fucking drinks, and like I have not tasted it, and I think I think unfortunately because I have nephews and like younger kids, they bought the juice version, and I've never spent my own money on it. I have tasted it. It's a bit.
I have out of curiosity.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's just like, but I would rather buy anything else, to be honest. You know what I mean?
That's kind of how I feel. Like it's not something I'd like spit out, but it's just anything. Like it's
not to go too. Sorry.
Oh, go on, man. Go.
No, sorry, not to go too deep into it because that's a whole rabbit hole. But what I really hate is like everything behind the drink and what they were like when it was pushing the drink, especially in America. Like they were, it wasn't a drink that people under a certain age could drink, basically. But they kept pushing it basically to people who were under that age. And then they got into a whole heap of trouble, and there was all this other kind of legal stuff going on. And it was just like, it's like they just didn't really care. And it just so much pisses me off. Anyway, carry on.
I mean, like being a famous person and doing this stuff, at least be a Mr. Beast. At least this burger is actually okay. It's not greatest burger ever, but at least it's edible, unlike the weird sugar water that they've been peddling.
I'm surprised that thing with Mr. Beast. I'm surprised what he's doing hasn't been done before, because it's actually quite a clever way to run a business. I think because he's
which thing?
So like, you can buy his burgers on like Just Eat and like Uber Eats or whatever, and he doesn't actually have any restaurants. He just pays other restaurants to make them for him.
Oh yeah, ghost kitchens.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not a bigger thing.
No, because ghost kitchens are like. No, ghost kitchens have their own sort of problem with like landlords and like the actual physical business of doing the health and safety routines. I know.
Yeah, there's a
I know because I've delved into Ghost Kitchen details before. But it's a question of like I would have to rent the Ghost Kitchen building for like a year. Then afterwards, like, do I buy the equipment or do I just rent the equipment? And there's like costs doing that. It's a whole set of things. I know because I know, but it's like his thing isn't too bad because it's Mr. Beast money. He's got laser eye surgery money, which everyone seems to hate it on for the reason. I wouldn't mind some free fucking LASIK.
Oh man, what he did was so great, and people were hating on him. He was making a point. He was like, "This stuff should be government subsidized." At the end of the day, you have people who want to work. You could spend this much money helping get these people into work instead of doing the messed up crap you're doing. It was a really good point. And then so many people like trying to crap on it. It's just like, no, he's making a very valid point. You could actually, with this little investment, like the government could actually get so many more people into work and actually help their own GDP.
Yeah, but
they're so concerned about holding every little bit of money. Oh.
Yeah, but as I think I've had a conversation, I don't know who I had this conversation with. Like, look, Mr. Beast could cure cancer, and people still shit on him because it's Mr. Beast, and it's just like, you know, that's the same bullshit as well. But anyway, back to playing baseball because we found out. Because we should talk about favorite teams or like. Because
my
this movie
scene is it's shit. It's gone right out of my head. Oh, it's the one that I mentioned earlier with the line about there comes a time where we're all told that we can't play the children's game anymore. I thought it was a really nice thing because that's another thing that's kind of like universal to every sport, and it's kind of a fascinating thing in a way because. It's kind of linked to what I was saying earlier about like not begrudging somebody from getting a payday because you forget how short their careers are. Like when you think like at the top level, if you get like 10 years, you're very, very lucky. Yeah, I thought that was a cool thing, and yeah, like I say, it's something that you relate to no matter what sport you're into.
Oh. It's just us two now, isn't it?
Didn't want to hear it, man.
I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Well, no, someone's just knocking at the door. What's up?
Knocking at the door this time.
Oh no, it was my nephew who's just like asking.
I thought you meant like your front door.
Oh no. Yeah, you got your favorite scene was them talking about the playing. Well, I mean, it's because in any sports it's usually a young man's game anyway. But I guess it's funny for him because he chose his one of the batsmen that he chose to replace. He chose 3 players to replace this one other player that was good. Was an older dude anyway. He was like 38 is what I want to say. And he's like, yeah, he's an old guy. Yeah, but I want to squeeze all of the last bits of baseball out of you before you retire. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I feel like, I think it's nice. It's like, I get it because like I still want to play, even if I'm sort of like old. I still want to finish as a baseball player. That's what it is, and it's like that's a very beautiful statement. Favorite scenes for myself is like the trading card thing about it. Something very silly, and very snappy about it. But I feel like that's how that works somehow because he's like phone line, and while he's eating a Twinkie because Brad Pitt always eats something while he's on fucking set because it's of his backstory of not being able to eat lunch for like a whole day. But like he's eating his Twinkie and he's like phone line. Hi, can I get the Chiefs on line 2? Yes, thank you. Okay, I'll trade you this. I'll give you him for this. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, hold. Okay, put me on line 2. Put me on line 3 with the Chiefs. Okay, hey Chiefs, I got this guy and I can trade him for this. it was spoken so fast, but I understood every bit of it. I can't repeat it because I can't speak that fast. But it's just like it's so interesting to see them play, seeing that because seeing just those transactional deals, it's this is all just like him just acting and saying, "Yeah, trust me on this." But it was so believable just him going, "Yeah, I've got this, and I'll give you this for this deal," and it's and that's like a few million quids between players and between teams, and something about that is so interesting to watch. How how much like power his words have to say, "I want to buy this player. I'll give you 2 million quid for it. Oh, $2 million for it. Sweet. Okay, done deal. Next." And it's silly. It's a bit silly, but because it's so snappy and like kind of like the weight of it is quite important as well. It makes it such a great scene to see. I don't know, obviously, if it's actually like that in real life. It might be, but I don't think so. But I think that's like Brad Pitt with Jonah Hill doing their acting, and that's what makes that part of the film like interesting to see. And I think that's a credit to them as well because it's just like how it's done. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
I was just looking about I like a lot of how like they brought all this film to be. How they constructed it, how like David Justice was nicknamed Young Justice in real life, like he was from the minor leagues, how he got compared to like the actual player in real life. And then he's now playing him, which is great.
Wait, Young
It's just
Justice, was he playing like
so
Superman? What do you
so
mean?
the guy who plays David Justice was a real life baseball player, but like I think minor leagues. But and I think he was even a candidate for Atlanta Braves. I can't remember quite clearly. But um he was nicknamed like Young Justice because of his people saw similarities between him and David Justice.
Okay.
Like growing up when he was playing baseball. It's just kind of cool that he's now in the role playing him, which is great. And then how they got a lot of people obviously from the I guess I say the field itself. The field of baseball itself. You have real scouts in there. You have real people who do it do that as part of their job or used to do it as part of their job. Even when they were like preparing for the scene where all the scouts and whatnot are talking about who they're going to replace. Um, I can't think of them now, but how they're going to replace the people they're losing. And it's just like you're getting real people up in here, and you're doing this. It's really good. I mean, I do like how what's the director's name again? Um,
I'm
what's
not
the
sure who
director's
directed
name
this
again?
actually.
Bennett Miller.
Oh no, sorry. Who's the director of this film's name again?
Is it not Bennett Miller? Because that's what it
Yeah,
says on
yeah,
the
it is
wiki.
Bennett.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Aaron Sorkin? He wrote it.
Oh, wrote it. That was it. Or he rewrote it, didn't he?
Oh, did he rewrite it?
Yeah, I think the original was done by someone else, and he rewrote it. I can't remember who the original writer was.
Steven
Um,
Salini? Is that wait, no, he's that.
Something like I think it's Steven something. But yeah, sorry, I'm confusing the writer for the director. Anyway, I'm glad the director decided to do it the way it is done in the film. The original director, even though it would have been cool, I prefer seeing Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill and all sorts of actors in it. Because originally, the other older director wanted to can't even get words out right now. He wanted to put as many of the original team in the film, like as whether they be the players or whether he get real baseball players. He didn't want to get as many actors basically. Whereas here you've got mostly actors, but you've got a mix of people from the baseball field in this as well, which I think is pretty cool.
Mm.
Anyway, uh, I think my favorite scene is at at the end when he's driving after talking one final time with uh his assistant, and he puts his daughter's song on, and it just gets him right there, and he's just like, yeah, you know what, I ain't leaving. That's like the last kind of bit for him, the last piece. It's just like, yeah. And even though, like, I know that's not what happened in reality, because even the story behind that's really cool. Like that girl, like what you call it? She auditioned. And the director like liked her singing so much. She's like, you know what? You've got the part, and you're singing twice. We're hearing you sing twice in the film. Great.
Yeah.
But doesn't just stop there, but uses that as a moment like between father and daughter to go, this this could have been something that happened, but it illustrates the point in the end. He still felt that, you know what, yeah, I'm not going. I know what's true to me.
Mm.
I just like that's what I see. The Brad Pitt actually great. It's nice. Yeah. Yeah, I like a lot of stuff about the film. It's cool. Also, sorry if any of my random streams and tangents were disjointed.
That's all right.
I'm
I feel like
tired.
well, no, I feel like this is unfortunately the core that had everything that was baseball but not baseball. It's everything else now.
Yeah. Plus, to be
Oh wait,
fair,
well,
like, how long have we known each other now? Like,
A
I think. Wait,
long
is that,
time.
yeah, shit.
Well,
So,
I've known Rob and Emmanuel. Oh fuck!
Year 7.
shit, man, we've known each other for over 20 years.
I hadn't known you that long.
That is a long fucking time. But yeah, the
Uh,
point I was going to make is it's probably too late to apologise for that now.
I met you guys in sixth form, so
So
I
even
was.
that's like coming up
You
to
guys
20
were
years
like
now.
what, 16 at the time?
Yeah, so
I was
that's
17.
17 years? No, 15 years.
Yes. No, no. I wish it was 15 years. I'd be a little bit younger.
No, yeah, it's
It's
17
like
years.
eight.
So
It's
yeah,
like
17
17
years.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 17 years. Fuck me.
well, I mean, like time and age is a very like relative things. Me, I shocked someone by going. You realize 2020 was 4 years ago, right? And
Yeah,
it,
that's
and
mad.
it hurt her. It hurt her soul, and I was like, I didn't mean to like break your heart, right? But that's like physically speaking, 2020 was 4 years ago, and it hurt her to like her core. It's like, oh, don't say that. Oh, I feel like I almost gave her a heart attack.
Do you know
More or
what always
less.
like blows my mind a little bit when I remember it is that so when it was the new year going into 2000, I remember going outside the front of my house and like fireworks were going off like all down the street and whatever. And I remember thinking, like, whoever's born this year, it's going to be really easy to like work out their age. And I remember thinking that as a 10-year-old, like when like it was New Year and everything. And like every year since, I've remembered that and been like, holy shit, that person is this old now. And now it's like, fucking hell, they're 24. Like,
Oh yeah, shit. Oh fuck, that reminds me of my nephew's nearly 5 months old now. Christ. All right, yeah. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, all of this time and stuff is relative. Seeing all this stuff, especially with like, when was this film made? Actually, this It was made in 2011. It was only like
Yeah.
13 years old. This film is 13 years old. So it's always
I
interesting
was.
to see how it is. That's why I think the timeline thing for what Alec does is really fascinating to see because like you really go, wow, yeah, this is during this time. It's great.
Holy shit, I just realised that. Sorry, as you were saying that, I realised that the people who were being born after we left sixth form are now in sixth form.
Ah, fucking hell, Rob, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah. I I don't.
Oh
I
fuck,
don't know.
you're right. All right, you are. Fuck.
Oh no.
I don't know, but with me,
Rob, stop thinking.
with me, I don't know if it's because I don't know. In my head, so much has happened. It seems like a really long time ago, and time tends to go slow for me anyway. But I'll look back and be like, that was like even 4 years ago was a completely different world. So much has happened, like 2B, 4B, the last 4 or 6 years. Like, oh my goodness. I'm just like, I'm glad I did what I've done. Like, I don't, it's like, even the last 10, 15 years, I'm just like, man, I'm gonna do it. Just like,
Yeah. I think for me, it's just like it's just such a weird thing because like just now when I worked out how long we'd known each other for, like because the answer is like 23 years now. I'm like, how the fuck am I old enough to have known someone for 23 years?
it doesn't really hit you
Yeah,
until you say it.
it's a special
And
feeling.
these days, I think, especially for the last like 2 years, it's well, last 3 years really. It's always kind of hit me or come to my mind that okay, I'm a manager or I was a manager, and I'm at this age where I can relate to the younger people coming to the workforce, but I'm also in between that and can relate to the older ones older than me who don't complete get the younger generation coming in. So I'm in the middle, especially in where I worked. I was the only one really of my age in my position. So I'm just like I did manage quite differently, and lots of people below me loved it. But it's quite an interesting thing, and I'm thinking, will I end up becoming that older generation who isn't who doesn't understand them as much, or will being if will I be able to still keep in touch and still be able to relate enough if I'm also making that effort and also making sure I say involved or interested in the things that my brother who like he's like at the end of sixth
Yeah.
form now.
Well,
Like will that help me? Like it's interesting. I'm thinking about that kind of stuff and how I relate to the younger ones and how I relate to the older ones and
eventually,
retiring. Oh,
don't worry, Manuel. Eventually, we will all be the old man that shouts at clouds. Don't worry. We all eventually have it. Yeah, it's the Simpsons thing. We used to be with it, but what it changed. No, we're no longer with it, and what's it now is old and scary.
I
It's
don't
fucking
know, man.
it's scary.
Maybe this is naivety, but I feel like our generation is different because so much has changed
yeah,
between like the generation before ours and our generation. Because we were like the first
yeah,
generation with like the internet, like we were the first
Well,
ones
okay.
where like home
I
ownership
think
wasn't as easy, and like all of these different things that like make us relate to the generation below more than the generation above. Like so many things like that.
don't know how to explain it more than this. It's very simple as this. I don't. You have your like nieces, and I have my nephews. Have you watched Bluey and have you played Roblox?
I haven't watched Bluey.
yes.
Okay,
And Minecraft, but Minecraft is older,
Minecraft is
obviously.
about is technically our age, but Bluey and Roblox. If you've got Bluey and
Yeah,
Roblox and you know about that, And if you can understand that, then maybe you can be hit. But until you understand Bluey and Roblox, yeah, it's already past our
Well, I
age.
get
To be fair,
Roblox. Yeah.
I must admit,
I
like
think
when we
Minecraft
were
is
at
superior,
Smiths,
but
when we were at Smiths a couple of weeks ago, and like everything in there was just like a mystery toy, I was like, "This is awful." Like this is just like I can't believe they've done this. Like, that was the first time where I was going like, "Yeah, I'm not of the young generation anymore. If I think all this is terrible."
Oh, I'm constantly
oh,
be like, why are people spending all this money?
It's just
It's just took.
it's just such weird things like bath bombs with like mystery dolls in. It's just like that shouldn't exist.
to be honest,
Oh no, that's so people learn how to take showers. That's literally the reason why that exists. It's the same thing with the one that's like a soap, but it's got Pokeballs. It's a Pokeball soap that has the Pokemon in it. So you've got to use the soap before you get the Pokemon.
that's actually pretty cool. I mean, I kind of get it. It's instead of like, it's like a better loot box.
Yeah,
Yes.
Instead of just a random digital character that could disappear when the game's servers are closed down, you get something that has actually physically made a difference in your life and cleaned you.
and to
Plus,
be
you get a
fair,
little toy
like
to collect.
it is stuff that's like always been around. So like it's not as if it's just like a brand new thing, but because like, it was
Yeah,
obviously we had
Kinder
it when we
Egg.
were kids with like power pods and like things like that, and Pokemon cards and all that stuff. So like it's always been around, but I think what it is that like it's been so long since I was a kid buying that stuff that seeing a kid buying that stuff now, I'm like, you're exploiting children. This is wrong. Like, this...
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the other side of it now.
yeah,
You see the whole kind of EA. What the crap were you doing with Battlefront 2? Or the yeah, Battlefront 2. Like
Yeah.
you get the whole criticism. You get the whole kind of you're getting children into gambling at
yeah.
this age. You should be ashamed of yourself. Or with the CS skins gambling trading and all the that's a whole
It's a
rabbit
whole
hole.
thing, man.
Let me
It's a
stop.
whole thing. Okay. So
I like that this came
any
back round 360 to trading cards.
yeah. So
I
back
haven't
to the
done my I haven't done my favourite scene yet, have I?
oh yeah, so what was it?
Yeah.
Probably one that made me laugh the most actually, and it was really petty. It reminded me of what me or Rob would be like if we were trying to run a team and the coach wouldn't do what we asked. It's like put Hatterberg in, and he'd say, "No, I'm picking my own team." Put Hatterberg in, and he'd keep saying no. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking trade this guy, so he's gonna play Hatterberg. I really like that. It was so petty, like, but it was so brilliant.
That reminded me actually of another thing
Oh,
with that bit where he was like, "Oh, this is what the Yankees think of you. They're paying you to play against them." That was brilliant. Are you
Yeah.
drinking no caffeine Coke?
No, this
It's
is
vanilla.
vanilla Coke
Oh,
Zero.
right,
vanilla,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I get
And
how
who's
you
drinking
would have
lemon
mistaken that because
I was
it's the
like,
way it
man,
used to
that's
be. Yeah?
ballsy.
Oh, bad. But yeah, like you were saying, Pat, I did like that part where he comes into the office and then he's just like, "But yeah, you can't play. Playing that. What do you mean? I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. No, but you can't. What you mean I can't?
'Cause he doesn't play for us anymore.
Yeah, he's going to Boston. And then is it James? Whatever thing he walks in. Oh yeah, here's the blah blah's number. You know, these number. They're gonna help you out with a trade in. Blah 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 blah. Cool. Take care. You're a good player. Wish you the best.
My favourite
He
part of
walks in.
that as
He's
well
like,
was
he's not
like,
with us anymore either.
so after he did that and he went up to Philip Seymour Hoffman and was like, no, you ain't playing him because he's playing for this team. And then one of the other players he was trading comes in. He's like, oh yeah, I've traded him too. Here's the number and see you later. I Philip Seymour Hoffman's face is like, you son of a bitch.
He was great, by the way. I thought he was really good in his role.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
his role was very simple, but he played it perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's always good though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked him.
He was even probably my favourite Mission Impossible villain.
Really, that's interesting.
Mm.
I really liked his character. He was oddly very menacing. I mean, how many people got that close to Ethan Hunt and stuck a bomb up his nose?
To be fair, he's one of my favourite characters in Boogie Nights as well, and he barely does anything in that. So
Yeah,
I just love that
anything-
he was like lingering around and just like you know exactly what he is because he's such a good actor.
Yeah. Anything I've seen him in, I've really enjoyed.
Yeah. He's
He
great
is a great-
in Punch Drunk Love. I'll pick that one day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's really good in that because there's this thing with Punch Drunk Love where like some people interpret it as if it's like as if Superman was on Earth before he was Superman, and so Philip Seymour Hoffman plays this guy who's like he runs a mattress shop and people call him the Mattress Man. So people take that as like, oh, the Mattress Man is Superman's first villain.
Oh man. On a random one. Yeah, I do agree. He's really good in Mission Impossible. But when you said that, it made me think of one of the moments that just I kind of there's many moments in Mission Impossible I enjoy. It's just lots of fun. But I think one part that made me almost laugh, but also be like, nah, this is just great fun, is seeing who plays Superman now, or used to.
Henry Cavill.
Seeing him in that bathroom scene.
Oh, the
Oh, that.
yeah, and the more you see it, like especially the GIF, sort of points it out, doesn't it?
Where he reloads his arms and beards. Yeah.
And yeah, it's something like his watch disappears and his beard changes.
Yeah.
That just reminded me, like, the weirdest thing. So, you know, I said about the Soho Hotel the other day, and that being, like, where we went to a screening once.
Who's the hoe?
Huh?
Who's the hoe?
Oh. But yeah, like...
So or tell.
So, you know that was where we went for The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? So
Yeah.
That's getting an Arrow release this month now.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
heard about that.
Yeah.
cool.
I never would have, like, put that down as, like, an Arrow release. But yeah, it's getting one.
Yeah, because that film sort of flopped, didn't it?
It did a bit, yeah.
I quite liked the film, but it didn't do well commercially.
Yeah.
Oh, news has just come in, Rob. Jerry Rice's son's just been drafted
Oh, nice. Who's
to the
drafted
Chargers.
him? But the Chargers?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're
Who's got it better than us?
Well, you've got to be my second team this year if you've got Jerry Rice's son and Harbour.
Yeah.
So before we cut into actual sports, is there anything else about this baseball movie that you want to say, or is there like any like closing thoughts?
I am glad that I've picked it. I think this is probably the most talkative I've been on a chat for a while as well.
I mean,
that-
there's also less of us as well. It's like no,
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm happy I picked it in the end. I'm happy that everyone sort of got some sort of enjoyment out of it, even though Simon, yourself, and Ben weren't as into it as the rest of us were. Yeah, just glad I could share the baseball love about.
Yeah.
But the thing what I'd like to say, what I'd like the most about baseball is it's considered like America's pastime, so it's a big look inside the American culture. And that's the thing I like about all their major sports is like baseball is America. Basketball is more like urban America. Football is more like the rock and roll stuff, even though fucking most of the halftime shows are done by like hip hop and pop artists. And hockey is Canada, essentially. So like it's,
Really
I
nice.
think you can learn a lot about America and Canada as a culture by the sports.
yes.
So it's
specify that it's ice hockey.
well,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Rob. I'm sorry, Rob. I just
I
realized.
completely forgot about that.
I'm sorry.
I haven't forgot about it. It's still fresh in my mind.
Well, whenever field hockey is mentioned, I think of India.
Oh no,
What?
okay.
India.
When you say field hockey, I was thinking, do you mean like ones that you run around, or do you mean on skates? Because that's what field hockey is to me. It's like so like skating hockey, right? No. Field hockey is with the foot, with
Yeah,
just the
on the
shoes.
grass
And
field. Yeah.
yeah, but
I
I
have
think
a I have a
it's
scar on
not.
my wrist from playing hockey
Oh,
with
right.
Gary. Yeah, Gary hit me with the stick and
Oh,
made about that deep in of a gash.
Ooh.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I said
what,
I'm never playing ice hockey with you.
oh, what a bastard!
Yeah.
Okay.
It was an accident.
But apart from that, was there anything like other thing? Because like as I say, it was interesting seeing this like statistic side of like baseball, but it's just like not what I enjoy about it. But apart from that, it's still a good film. It's still quite interesting characters and how they interact with each other.
Yeah, I think me and you have got like the opposite takes on it because like for me this is just like it's as if Pat had like commissioned somebody to make a film about something I'd find interesting about baseball. And I'm hoping the rest fills in after we go to a game.
Yes.
I'm hoping so as well. Very much so.
As a random question, was there anything I didn't get to read up all about the film? Was there any kind of negative thing about the film or its making, like before it came out or anything?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, some people said there are like some inaccuracies because like some of the players were already drafted before the timing of the film. But apart from that, generally speaking, it felt like the core of the characters were correct, is what they said. So generally speaking, yeah, it makes sense. There's, it's not like 100%, but like yeah, generally what happened.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for picking it.
That's all right.
So, Simon,
Yeah.
what is your next film?
Yeah. So, we've gone to happy lately, so we're going back to depressing. So
Nice.
Oh,
this is
man.
film is
Wait,
set
we've been too
in.
happy lately when Requiem for a Dream was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's always had 2 weeks of happiness. Let's go back down to slightly depressing. So we're going back to the Middle East. This is about
Ooh.
a girl that has to survive in Kabul when the Taliban was currently in rule. This
hell.
Oh,
is
man.
this is the film based off the book Panvera, I think is how you pronounce that. This is The Breadwinner. It's a little anime by a I think it's a Canadian studio. No, it's Canadian and Irish studio. So it's a little animated film. I think you can watch it on Amazon. I think it used to be on Netflix, though I don't know for sure. My Netflix has been acting weird. But yeah, this is like this little like story of like how she has to live her life in Kabul while the Taliban is the rule. It's a little interesting story. I feel like this is essentially this is from like a series of novels, but this is like the first couple of the books. So this is like it's an interesting story. So that is my The Breadwinner.
That's a very interesting pick. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah. Interesting.
Nice.
Well, I look forward to it.
Yes, indeed.
Sorry.
So,
Manuel, look forward to watching it next Saturday.
I'm gonna try to watch it before. I'm really bad at watching films. And keep
Yeah, I
pushing it
feel
off.
you.
yeah, it happens. With some, I mean, I get like for this week's or the film that we just watched, I was able to watch early because I had some spare time. But yeah, usually I always like watch bits and bits of it. and go to watch it then. But I think that's it for now, and I think I need to do something else. All right.